Caring and sharing on LinkedIn.
And welcome back to LinkedIn to Lead Generation with Hannah Tighe. We are talking about a whole series of episodes we're doing here on how to get onto the radar screen of your ideal client using LinkedIn. So caring and sharing on LinkedIn, what are we talking about in this episode, Hannah?
So basically, we're going to talk a little bit about wooing your prospects using the tools and manners that your mama gave you. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Cool. Well, that sounds very good because people need people skills. So what are these specific things we're going to hit in this episode?
Sure. We're going to talk a little bit about if you're messaging people, how to keep it professional, but still personal. And people don't care about you if you don't take an interest in them, right? So
Yep.
How to talk to people a little bit, and also how to stay top of mind using, just commenting, sharing, and doing things like that.
All right, well, let's see if your mama taught you some good manners, Hannah. Teach away here to us. So if you're messaging people, keep it professional / personal. So, okay, what would mama tell us?
Okay, so if you're reaching out to connect to somebody, you want to make sure, number one, that you look at their profile, right?
Know something about your audience.
Yeah, don't just start randomly saying like, oh, this person looks interesting. Let me just hit the connect. And you also, of course, want to, once you look at their profile, then you want to craft a message, and you want to say, hey, Joe, I noticed, that you and I are both in this group, or, whatever it is. Try and find some commonality, or if maybe they've done some really amazing, posts in these posts, you can actually reach out to them and just say, hey, I really appreciate some things that you've done. I'd love to be able to stay a little bit more in touch with, your network updates. Would you mind connecting? I'd love to connect. And always give them the out, if they don't want to connect.
Right. Don't back them in the corner and say, connect with me now.
So again, this is what your mama taught you. When you meet someone, you try and like warm them up a little, right? You're kind of, just creating that relationship, and that's how you want to go about it. You also don't want to, if you're male or female, you want to make sure that when you're talking, you keep it professional. You're not saying creepy things.
Right. LinkedIn is not a dating site. Yes.
It's not a dating service. No. So, you really want to make sure that you're keeping it professional and you're very clear as to why you want to connect. No talking about like getting to know you and having a warm, genuine relationship over Skype and, things like that. It's
to determine if you are my soulmate, right? Yeah, that's not LinkedIn talk.
No, it's not good. And also when you're sending in-mails, make sure that you don't have the literally where it says insert name here.
Right.
The form letter that you did. Yeah.
You got some of those, yeah?
Yeah, that's a problem. So, keep it personal but professional.
Right, yeah. Sometimes those field code generators can get in the way, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk again. Obviously, you had a good mama because she taught you that people aren't going to care about you unless you first show that you care about them. So I think you're already starting down that road because that's part of what looking at that profile gives you some background about this actual person. So you want to maybe open the conversation with, hey, I like your stuff about such and such, or I saw the post that you did on this topic, but give us some other tips about, why you don't want to start with me.
Right. Well, I mean, and even if someone actually tries to connect with you, like I always say, like if someone tries to connect with me and even sends me that obnoxious invite, like I'd like to add you to my professional network. Okay, well that's great. But why? Why? Why do you want to add me to your professional network? So, when you contact someone, you want to kind of, again, make sure that you let them know that you have, made some effort to get to know them a little bit. If they've contacted you, you can say, like, hey, I love to connect to like-minded people. Let me know, like, what made you want to connect to me? How can I help you?
Right.
Or, sure, I'd love to connect, but please let me know, what I can do to help you. And in the meantime, you may have noticed from my profile, but, I specialize in coaching LinkedIn. Here are some 10 top tips a link to my 10 top tips, to make sure that your profile is optimized, or, whatever. Hope you find it helpful. Looking forward to staying in contact with you here. And if there's anything I can do, please feel free to reach out.
Right. And if you never hear from that person again, obviously they really weren't trying to connect with you. They were just doing random connections, right? So,
right. Exactly.
Right.
So,
and I think we're touching on, so let's make it explicit. I mean, that there's people who just connect to anybody because they want to get as big a network as they can, and I'm not sure they even know why they're doing that. But I think you would agree that being choosy and building an actual network of really engaged people, even if it's a whole lot smaller, is probably a whole lot more valuable to you in building your business than having a big network of people who really don't care about you, right? I mean,
it is and it's not. I think that you should always try to increase your connections with anyone that you think could be positive, because you can start building relationships once you're on LinkedIn. So even though you don't know them really well, or you haven't done business with them, or even an affiliate, or whatever, if there's someone who looks like they can have any value to you at all, and they're not just a bot, or someone who's obviously never going to be able to help you, there's no reason why you shouldn't try to connect to them and see if you can then build that relationship. But again, when you connect with them, you always follow it up with a message saying, hey, I like to get to know my contacts. How can I help? Why'd you like to connect? How can I help move you along in your career, and open up the conversation? That's what you do when you go to a networking event, right? You say, like, hi, how are you? Who's your ideal client?
Right.
Or at least that's what you should do if your mama taught you right.
Exactly. If your mama taught you how to network, so not everybody's mama did. That's why we've got Hannah. Hannah, you're coming in here to teach us what mama should have taught us.
Exactly.
So let's wrap up with a little bit about commenting, sharing, asking questions. I mean, how do we use that effectively to kind of do what you're saying here?
Sure. So by you doing that, every time you do that, that helps you, again, show up in the stream of your network, like what your activity is doing is being broadcasted, right? So you want to make sure that you're going and you are commenting on people's discussions, in groups, in status updates. It's great to make comments. You're exposed to all the other people who are commenting. Sometimes people just, if they really like something, they might read. They're like, I'm not sure how I feel about that article. And then they read through the comments to kind of get, more of a gist, to learn more about it. So you're showcasing your thought leadership. But also, every time, we're all narcissists, okay? Like, we all do selfies now. That's what we're all about. We're all about, like, me. I wasn't hugged as a child enough. So you have to, if you, like, put out a status update and someone comments on it, or they're liking it or whatever, doesn't that give you a warm glow in your heart?
It does.
I mean, doesn't it? It does. And then their network sees that, and it's just like sharing and caring and, whatever. So I'm not saying that you should, do that if you really have no interest, or, you don't think that it was relevant. But if you can take, 10 minutes a day and go through your stream, you're staying top of mind, you're building, some nice reciprocal stuff going on, who maybe then they'll share your stuff, right, with their network. And it's just, sharing and caring and contributing.
Right. Mama taught you to play nice with others, and share, and give good stuff, right?
Yes. Share.
Right. Share.
Yeah,
share was a big one. So
give warm hugs.
Yeah, they need a hug button on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Well, this has been great, Hannah. I mean, this whole series has been great. I mean, if you haven't seen the earlier episodes in this 4-part series that we've been doing, make sure you go back and connect with Hannah on her website and get access to the other episodes in this whole series here, because it's all about getting onto the radar screen of your ideal client using LinkedIn. So this episode's been about what Mama taught you about caring and sharing. So we talked about messaging people and keeping it professional. We talked about making sure that you show that you have an interest in them before you assume they're going to have an interest in you, and how to use commenting, sharing, and asking questions to engage people and get that visibility. But also, again, it's a way of showing that sharing and caring. So this has all been really good stuff, good tips for people to become a LinkedIn power user, right? So stay tuned for a lot more. We'll be announcing the next 4-part series coming up real shortly here. Hannah is doing these shows, LinkedIn to Lead Generation. You want to make sure you go to her website. It's right up here on screen, and subscribe to her list so that you get these notifications. Otherwise, you're just going to randomly find a nugget and miss a whole lot of really good stuff that will make you a much better LinkedIn user. So, Hannah, thanks so much for all the sharing that you do here. Your mama obviously taught you well. If our viewers' mama didn't teach them well, then they should be really thankful that they've got Hannah to help them out and set them on the right path. So until our next episode, Hannah, thanks for all you're doing here. Talk to you real soon.
Thanks, Mark.